Hello everyone, my name is Mabel and I'm popularly known on this channel as Auntie Mabel. This is the part 2 of my conversation with Rashida. If you haven't seen the part 1 yet, I will suggest you go and watch the part 1 first so that this part 2 will make more sense to you. So, like I said in the beginning of part 1, Rashida has been able to share with us some of the tips and nuggets that she's using to overcome the barriers that you are likely to encounter when you are trying to speak your language to your children. So I hope you're going to enjoy. I know you're going to enjoy this part 2 as much as part 1. The other thing I want to say as well, I know in our time, we tend to worry that the children might not do well. Actually, the statutory time for education, where they actually study statutory nursery school, is about 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge we always had was that we didn't want our children to get to school at that stage and not being able to speak English.
Mm.
So has this impacted your children in any way? What do you advise these people who are worried, if that is their biggest worry, that they don't want their children to come in the UK especially, they don't want their children to start the nursery at 4 years old and not being able to speak English, and the teachers finding it difficult to interact with them?
Very, very good question. And a lot of our people are under that, the misconception is what I'll call it, that, yes, the children will get confused. Okay. I went to a store one day, and this Igbo guy, a very pleasant man who owns the store, said to me, you're teaching your children Yoruba. This is good. Wow, I remember they told me my children would get, confused. And then we stopped. And he said, I wish I hadn't stopped.
Mm.
So he and his wife are both Igbo. I mean, they speak the language, and they were speaking to their children back then. But the children went to school. The teacher said the children were confused because they were speaking some other language. Okay, so the parents stopped. So for me, I believe it's nonsense. Pardon my language. It's nonsense. Absolutely. Because I have siblings. I have family members who are both Yoruba. And now that they've seen the way things are working in other homes, that you can speak the language to your child without your child getting confused when they get to school, they're doing it. I'm going to take example of other people from other nations. The one that's very well known here is Spanish-speaking children. People of Spanish-speaking countries or of descent was Mexico descent, and they in the U.S. speak. Their parents at home speak only Spanish to them, always. Most of the parents are immigrants who don't speak English. How are they doing it? How is it that they can go to school and not get confused and still thrive and be at the top of their classes? Okay, so that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Secondly, children, they have this brain that is so is so elasticized, its plasticity is original. It's not like ours, which is so rigid, right? We are stuck in this mindset of judging everything we do, judging whether someone will criticize everything we're doing. But children are very innocent. So is their brain not saying the words right? They're not wondering whether they strive to understand. So if you take a child from a country that's speaking Yoruba and drop that child off and say goodbye, drop that child off in a foreign land, that child will pick up the language very quickly. Absolutely. Because children want to please. They want to interact. We adults, we stand off. We're like, okay, we're thinking people. Our brain maturity has already passed there. So we're judgmental. We criticize ourselves, right? And we are not as flexible as children are. My daughter is learning Spanish. It's offered at school. Is she confused? Did she, I started speaking only Yoruba to her as a child. The only sources of her English were, she barely watched television. Barely. She started going to daycare. I put her in daycare very early, then took her as an infant and took her out. And then she stayed away for a year, right? Where she didn't really have an interaction with a lot of children speaking English. When she went back to daycare, she was fine because your television speaks English, people. Learn from the television. The children will never be confused. Yes, if a teacher is not as attentive and not aware, they might think the child is confused because they're not doing their jobs. I'm sorry. But some children some children may have learning disabilities. Yes, we all of that in place. It does not mean the child is confused because he or she is speaking at the age of 5. You know what I mean? So we need to stop making those excuses and just try to, from this point, make the change that we want, be the change, I guess is what it is that we want to see. Absolutely. Right? Yes, my parents never spoke Yoruba to us like that. We heard Yoruba in the environment. They didn't really, like you said, they wanted us to speak English, be as polished, to interact with the world as possible. So we did that. But then the environment changed. Now, all of a sudden, we're required to speak our native tongue that we never exercised. But then when you're born, you have to rebirth yourself. Absolutely. And all of us, there's so many people, like you said, now aware, and they're very conscious of this language, the need to have our cultures, our languages, our traditions go on and grow. For us to resurrect, we need to resurrect all of these, right? From starting with us. So we should never think that a child will be confused if they are learning languages from infancy. This, especially because our languages are tonal, you need to start as early as you can. The reason why my children have the tone is because I've been speaking to them from when they could understand words. Okay, they've been hearing the tone from me. And if only a person can do it in a household, being the only one who speaks the language at the time, and they have the tone, can you imagine what so many of us can do out there? Some people have their mothers with them, watching, helping them babysit. And having that child for some time. If that mother speaks just your native tongue, let the child spend some time with the mother. And then by the time that child comes back, they might teach you something in your native tongue. You know what I mean? So, so my children are not confused. Let them be an example for those who think that it is excusable to think that they will be confused. Don't let people dissuade you from doing it because they've never stepped foot in Nigeria. And they speak just as if they live there. You know what I mean? So where's the confusion? They are taught in English. My daughter does a school in English, and I teach. It's funny that when I'm teaching my daughter, I speak Yoruba to her to help her with her homework. Imagine that dynamic. It's interesting. It is it motivates me to learn more. It challenges me as the mom. Yeah. Because it's like, you're learning each day. You know what I mean? Yeah. But please, they will never be confused. So anybody who's watching this today, if you're thinking about it and you've been told that they'll be confused, they will not. Just keep going. You'll be so impressed when you look back at what you've accomplished.
That's a very good point to raise. They actually feel that the teachers in the UK, I don't know, some people might have had bad experiences with teachers, but I feel they are more aware now themselves, they are more knowledgeable, and they're actually encouraging it now. And far back as when our children were small, and even the teacher then in my daughter's school, my daughter is 30 now, Sorry to put her age out there. But I hope she wouldn't mind. So even
Don't
as
worry.
far back when she was about 3 or 5, okay, let's say 5 or 4 or 5 when they start reception in this part of the world in the UK. And a teacher in her school actually heard myself, I said it in one of my videos, I heard myself and my husband speaking English to her and the little brother then. They were the two we had at the time. And said, well, she actually queried us. This was about 25 years ago. So she was really, we had the motivation. We wouldn't say, she said, why are you speaking English to your children? And we said, oh, it's because both myself and my husband speak different dialect. And he said, then you speak yours to them and your husband speak his to them. That do we actually know that children can learn up to 4 languages simultaneously? That research have shown. This is a teacher. She was telling us that. She said it was then we would say, oh no, there's not even much people that speak our dialect anyway. We are very minority in Nigeria. Because I said, that's the more reason you should teach it to your children. Do you want your language to be extinct? That since civilization, I think whether she said 300 or over 300, over 3,000, I can't remember. I think it's 3 figure that have been extinct. Languages have been extinct since civilization, just because people stopped speaking it. So she said, do you want yours to be one of them? We had someone who could encourage us at the time, but like I said, all the events of life and every other thing just got in the way. And this is part of the reason for my passion, where I just feel we can't drop this battle now. We have made mistakes. We have to shout it out there and make sure that the rest of the younger ones coming after us don't repeat our mistakes. One of the things I've started encouraging people in like my sister, I've always encouraged anybody that's around me that's having young children, I always sing it. Please speak to them. Please speak the language to them. There's no point saying they understand. They can't speak. Because if they understand they can't speak, how can they teach it to their children? Then it means you have lost the battle anyway. So make sure you encourage them to speak it as well. I was speaking to my sister recently, my younger sister, who still have 2 young children. And I was trying to encourage her. There's this pandemic has been bad in so many ways, but the only thing is more open our eyes to is Zoom. Me and you talking. In the past, we would have been struggling with Skype and struggling with WhatsApp, that every second is telling you is reconnecting. You know, there's so much we can do now. So I was even telling her, I said, do you know that we can actually start a kind of a play club via Zoom now, between 3 and 5, or it could be between 3 to 10, as many as possible. Because if you have at least, I would say 5, so that if the day one parent is not there, there's still a good enough number of children to speak to, so that like even your siblings, you know, rather than, I was trying to tell my sister, I said, if you want to start something like that, don't make one person to be a teacher. Let's all the parents take turn. For example, it's just like if you are in the Sunday school class, then you are the parent leading on that day. So it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's a story you want to bring to the children, if it's alphabet you are learning, if it's common words, you know, agree on something, and you have to have some guidelines and rules and regulations that when we come there, we're not going to be there chit-chatting. It's 1 hour, it's 1 hour. We are going to deliver what we want to do. If the children are going to prepare something to bring, you know, have a bit of structure in place. Start it informally. Get to know each other. Then as soon as, just see it as a Zoom play date in your language this time, the language focus. So there's so much we can really do. We don't necessarily have to live in the same neck of the wood, which is not even possible. Even if you live in London, you live in UK, it's very difficult, even without the pandemic, to even get families together. Because by the time you travel 30 minutes across the town to reach each other, got stuck in traffic here and there, one parent is running late from work, it becomes impossible. But now that you're taking the traveling away, look at today, we scheduled this meeting and here we're having this wonderful fellowship, you know.
That's
what can be better than that?
We're continents apart.
Yeah.
And we're talking.
Yeah. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say.
No, it does. You know, I thought about it. I said, you know, I would love to reach out to some of the parents that have interacted with me who are also trying to teach their children. Some of them have said, you've inspired me. Some of them, you know, are they started doing it because maybe they saw a video and they haven't really had much interaction with me, but they've interacted with our videos. So I would like, it's a good, I took note. So I fully understand what you're saying. I'm going to put this into execution. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. And I know we can go on forever because two people who are passionate about
I know. Mm-hmm.
So I just want us to wind this down now. And yeah, and what would be your final thoughts? Just kind of give a few words of encouragement out there to our parents or even young adults who don't even have children, who are not parents yet. If you are really interested in learning your language, there's a way you can encourage your parents. There's so much out there now. That's actually what challenged me to start the Esan language channel, because we are one of those that don't have so much out there. My daughter said, because my daughter's husband is half Igbo, and he said, Mom, you can go in there, you can find tons of information on Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa, but there's nothing, you can hardly find anything in Esan, you know. That was why I said, okay, let me even start something. I'm sure once I get out there, I can start attracting. As soon as a few weeks into starting my YouTube channel, Anthony left a message on my YouTube channel, and from Anthony I got to an Esan author who have written several books in Esan, including Esan dictionary, Esan grammar. You know, the gentleman is so excited that someone is bringing his books to life, and he's really happy to continue to support me. Tells me, even sometimes when he watches my video, he corrects me. Some of the things I didn't say properly. The next video, I'm so sorry, Diaspora said this, I should have said it this way. And you know, it's so wonderful to be able to work with people. So let that be my final words. I'm not saying anything.
So for me, first, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to me. I want to thank you for finding my channel because just like you, I have been told that you need to let people know this is going on. This is wonderful. But I didn't see it as a big deal. I just thought we should all be doing it, right? Then we were approached at marketplaces, myself and my daughter. And now with my son, it's like, you guys, this is an odd thing you're doing. This is very exceptional. So then God put it in my heart to share it with people, put it out there and see what happens. And that's when I started this journey. So for me, what I want to say to everybody who's watching, who may be watching this and who may want to embark on teaching their children their language, or at least learning to speak their own native language themselves, is think about everything that you think is cool. You know, we all want to be cool. You know, we want to be the coolest this, coolest that. Someone wear the latest clothes, someone wear the latest shoes, you know, the latest of everything. Put your languages in that category. Look at your languages as that which is cool. And look at yourself in the mirror and just think that the creator who made you did not make any mistake to put you in a land where they speak the language that is spoken where you're from. Let's stop hiding from ourselves, because a lot of us are lost. And if we're lost, let's find ourselves so that we don't lose the generations that are coming after us. A lot of us are waking up today, and we need to continue to wake up. There is nothing wrong with our languages. Some of us are ashamed to claim the languages because of what a few have done to ruin the name of the country, right? That's some people's issue. They want to hide from being Nigerian. Some hide from being whatever nationality it is that they're hiding from. It's okay. You are not those people. Claim your nationality, be who you are. You can be anything you want to be anywhere. If you speak your language, you never know what's going to happen in the future. This could be your key to wherever you're meant to be, your destiny, or wherever you're supposed to be as a person. So it's more than language. It is you finding yourself. And if you find yourself, you'll feel better as a person. And if you're having children, or even if you're 10 years old, if your mom or dad are not speaking it to you today, try to tell them, encourage them to speak it to you, that you're interested in learning. And if they're not, that's okay. Go online. You can watch videos online. They're free. And there are also applications that, you know, they call them apps There are apps that are free online for you to learn.
Absolutely.
There are also books that are being, there are books that are being published that you can take, make use of. Do everything you can. In this world today, there is no excuse to learn any language. You cannot blame anyone for what you are failing to do. So if you don't have the resources within your family, go and look for it. It's free and available online. So that's what I'll leave you with. And again, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk about my my endeavor of Yoruba teaching and speaking with my children.
Thank you very much. And on that note, class or everyone that come across this video, I'm going to leave Rashida's YouTube link on this video in the comments section and in the description box of so that once you watch this video, just click on those links and go and check out her channel and see what I'm talking about. So yeah, and on that note, everyone, we will say goodbye in Esan. Yeah, let's speak some language. Let's speak some language. Come on. So you are going to have to,
okay.
I'm going to say goodbye in Esan, thank you and goodbye in Esan. Then you are going to also say thank you and goodbye in Yoruba. So in you go first because you are my guest.
Okay. So in Yoruba, ẹ ṣé, adúpẹ́, ó dàbọ̀.
Oh, good. And in Esan is Vabulu is thank you. Vabulu, there's thank you. And Vakimbwe is goodbye. Vakimbwe class.
Ó dàbọ̀.